100% ratio. And they also do, of course, forestry, because they got this magnificent trees called spruce tree that forestry people use. And of course, the biggest benefit of that was us with the Fountain of Life. But Thomas, above being a scientist, he is an inventor. He creates stuff. He sees a problem in the marketplace, and he just comes up with some outside the Fountain of Life. He has other inventions that has not really to do with science, not our way, not our type of science. I mean, he does other things. A very, very interesting person to talk to. His mindset is he looks way beyond the norm. He looks at what's behind the curtain. He's very much aware of the challenges when he comes out with something. He patents everything. I don't know how many patents he's had, but he's got dozens of patents because he's discovered things that no one's done before him. So we use Thomas to use his extract. We have Tom Heiner, who did our Fairy Flawless, and we wanted the best skincare line, anti-aging, and the two ingredients that came out was the microsilver and the spruce tree extract. That's where we got connected with Thomas and Dr. Elmas, and we were absolutely mesmerized by the performance of the extract in our Fairy Flawless skincare line, anti-aging line. And since I found out it was non-toxic, I started taking it. I saw tremendous results, and we formulated for the very first time this extract to be used for internal use. If you guys remember, we had the Niagara Falls conference back in 2018. We flew him for the first time to Canada. Everybody was excited about the Fairy Flawless, but we announced that it's going to be also used for internal use, and the place erupted because the world needs a real product that works. And unlike anything else that's out there, or homeopathy, natural, there's nothing wrong with homeopathy and naturopaths. It's all great stuff, but there's no science behind it in the sense that the extraction process that we use for the Fountain of Life, it's owned by two multi-billion-dollar German labs. So it's not go your backyard and chop some spruce tree and chop it, put in the blender. You can't do that. There's toxicity. The process itself is the magic. And what Thomas did, we can partner with that. He took 7 lignans, not one, 7 of them, and he made it work together synergistically, because you can't do that. That's another problem with herbal products, where unless you got extraction process going, and there's very few companies that actually go to that technology because it's very expensive. Most of the products you see on the market, somebody just chopped up a bunch of stuff and put it in the capsule. The problem with that is not only does it get absorbed in your body, some of these products have toxicity to them. Unless it's extracted out, it's harmful, as well as you can't just mix things. Sometimes they don't work well together. I've been in nutrition for 30 years, and I know very well about putting herbs together and so forth. What excites me about the Fountain of Life is the science. So it's a science-based product. This wasn't about, what's the buzzword. When Thomas came out with this product, nobody knew about the spruce tree. Nobody knew about, they knew it in Finland. They were mesmerized. The scientists were mesmerized because they call it eternal disease-free tree. It goes hundreds of feet high. It lasts thousands of years, but there is no fruit to eat. So because of that, nobody really understood the power of it till Thomas came along. Thomas, are you on the call? Just say hello so I know you're there.
Yes, Ramin, he's with us.
Okay.
He's right here. Hi, Thomas.
Yeah, hi.
Hi, Thomas. Welcome to our call. It's a jam-packed call. Thomas, when I was on vacation last week, first of all, I know I did a horrible job doing the introduction for you, but I was more into, because I know you got more letters after your name than the alphabets. But I really wanted to share the story more than your accreditation, because I know you're one of the most respected scientists in Finland, and the people you deal with,
You brought me to university when I got to meet the chief scientist, which is unheard of. That's how much pull you have in that market. Is there anything else before we get into the topic? Is there anything else about your background you want to share with us?
Well, what could I say? Of course, my background is in surface and colloid science. And, I started with looking at those molecules that make up the membranes of our cells. So I worked at the molecular level, looking at how they organize, what the fluidity on them are, and so on, why they aggregate, why they make membranes, and not other things.
Thomas, it's fascinating because when I came down last time with Sanaz, you brought us to a university, and that's where you were doing the testing on the fountain of life and this particular cell. It was, you want to talk about, can we mention what type of testing it was?
Yeah, we were looking then at the cancer cells, prostate cancer cells.
So it was a prostate cancer cell. And who was the chief scientist that we're talking? He runs the university, right?
Yeah, Jon Eriksson is professor there.
Just so you know, folks, universities, they're the one that create everything because they got the government funding, they got all the scientists. This is the top, whether it's the US or Europe, universities where things get done because they got endless funding. For me to show up and for Sanaz to meet the chief scientist of this major university, in Finland, who, by the way, was doing testing on the fountain of life on a prostate cancer cell. And I don't know how many of you guys were at the first cruise. I actually showed you the video. There was about 70. If you were there, just put something. Yeah, I was there. And I got everyone's cell phones. I put it away so no one can record anything. And I showed the actual interview with that scientist. And Thomas, he pretty much said, it's interesting how you guys put it as scientists. You don't talk about cures. The way to talk about a cancer cell when it stops, you call it paused, correct?
Yeah. So we have just put in patents on this. So they will be within 1 year then public. And meantime, we can improve the patents with more measurements and so on, if you like. But anyway, we have filed the patents, so patent pending in both US and Finland at the same day.
So Thomas, the reason I go back to that trip is because I see a relationship between the cancer cell and what's going on with this virus.
Yeah.
Let's go back to the cancer cell. Now, you want to quickly explain to us what happened when they create the environment. Talk to us about how they create the environment in that machine, that big imaging machine, and what happened with the fountain of life.
Well, the experiment is done so that you cultivate these cancer cells, and you add their different amounts of these fountain of life lignans, and then you observe how they grow. And from that, you can determine the concentration when they won't grow anymore. And that means that you have reached the critical point in concentration that you need to stop the cancer growth. And then we could observe that the cancer cell didn't split as it usually does, and it didn't grow. So, then we could determine the signaling system that we were cutting off the growth signal and the splitting signal of the cell. So more or less, this is not a medicine to kill the cancer, but stop the growth. And that means that if you consume fountain of life, you increase this concentration so that cancer cells will have difficulties to grow. And
Let's
the
explain
cell-
that. Let's explain that because the second time you came here, Thomas, you explained why, how this can. Because I have a video. I believe it or not, Thomas, the video you and I did in my office, I never released it. No one's seen it. I said one of these days I'm going to release that video because the interview you and I did. But maybe we want to talk about that tonight because how does these cancer cells get bigger? The tumor.
Yeah. So usually the cancer cell is growing and putting pressure on normal cells. So, for instance, with patients with prostate cancer, you feel the pressure and you think you have to go to the toilet. And now the normal cells that feel the pressure there, they will kill themselves to make more space for the cancer cell growth. Okay, and now when you eat lignans, then you will feel that the pain is going away because you don't have the growth pressure from the cancer cells anymore.
So basically, Tom, because the rest of us were not scientists like you, so I'll put it in a very general way because I think I spent enough time with you to understand the concept finally. So at the end of the day, how the cancer cells grow, they have a receptacle, right?
Yeah.
And they tell each other to split,
Yeah.
correct?
So there is receptors on the surface of the cancer cell, and then you trigger the signal by attaching a signal substance to the receptor. And
So it's communication receptacles, right? The
Yeah.
communications, right.
yeah, and that gives the signal a cascade of other things happening in the cell, and it will start to grow or to divide up into two. Okay, and now the thing that we are doing is that we make it impossible for this signal to reach the receptor and attach to that.
So that's interesting. So a cancer cell tells another cancer, hey, buddy, I'm with you. Split, let's go, right? So they keep splitting. That puts pressure on the surrounding healthy cells. They kill themselves to make room for, and this cancer tumor gets bigger and bigger because they keep splitting, because they keep the receptacles communicate with each other. Essentially what the fountain of life. So this is what the chief scientist at the hospital said on video that I guess he regretted later. Remember he called us and said, please don't release that video?
Yeah.
And he basically said, the second, this is huge. He said, the second they put the fountain of life on, so first to create the environment, these massive imaging machines, the size of this whole door, right? These are massive machines. They create the right environment, like right proteins and temperature and all that. Dr. Thomas, I know I'm dumbing this down too much, but you can come in and help me out here if you want to, if I'm saying it wrong. Once the cancer cell starts to grow, then they know under these microscopes, right? Imaging machines, these are high-powered cameras. Once they start to grow, then they know, the scientist knows they got the right environment, just like our bodies, correct?
Yeah, but so these machines are made such that we can get the growth history of the cell, and we can then observe how the cell is changing, the size or the shape or something else happening with that. And that tells for those skillful scientists different things. Then we can go and use other equipment and instrumentation to look for specific, attachment to receptors and so on. And from that, we are coming now to the influenza virus.
So now, when the cell starts to grow, the cancer cell, that's when you know you got the right environment. And your chief scientist said the second fountain of life touched that cell, it paused. He used the word paused.
Yes.
At the time, I didn't know what that meant because I'm thinking, okay, what does that mean, right? But now I know. Basically, as scientists, you don't use the word kill or cure. You basically, you know they grow by communication. If you can pause them, then they're not growing anymore.
Yeah, exactly. And then So the combination then with the regular medicines to kill will be very effective.
Now, that's the history. It's fascinating to me. Now, remember those receptacles we talk about in cancers. Now, you told me there. Now, later on, you told me that you found out now there is more than one type of cancer that communicates with receptacles. There's several hormonic-based cancers, correct?
Yes, but to my knowledge, okay, you could say this way. Also, the cancer cells grow and change by time. So it could be that in the later stage, they don't react to any signals anymore.
Right.
And that is the problem, that if you get this runaway or growth, then it's very difficult to stop it. And that's why they then say we cannot do very much anymore.
Right.
But if you are in the earlier stage, they have this signaling system intact, and then we can pause it. Or, as I suggest, that consuming these lignans, and you never get the cancer from the beginning, because you stop it immediately.
So we're going to get to that next, because that brings us to where we are today. So, folks, this was like 2.5 years ago with Thomas. We never released that video. We don't make any claims, nothing. Thomas spends a ton of money on research. I know he spends a ton of money. He's curious. He's got this incredible thing, and he wants to know the capabilities. And when he catches something, he patents it. How many patents do you have, Thomas, overall?
I don't know now, but I would guess over 30.
When I met you was 24, so you're still at it. I know these things are expensive. So now those receptacles, we learned a lot from that. Let's fast forward. By the way, so don't make any claims, guys, because we didn't release the video for a reason. We don't make claims. And we don't know, like Thomas said, how everyone's going to react. And what happens in the lab doesn't necessarily mean what happens in your body. So we just know what we know. We share it. It was fascinating to hear it from a chief scientist on our own. And so let's fast forward 2.5 years to this virus. Thomas, did you want something to show on the screen for everyone to see? You can do that if you want.
Yeah, I can.
Yeah. So, Ramin, before we move forward, I do have a couple of questions for Dr. Elnaz as well before we get started. We do have a lot of people that are on the call tonight, and they may be guests and unfamiliar. They just heard about the Fountain of Life. And Thomas, I would love to hear from you a little bit about, your perspective of this powerful product that you've created called Fountain of Life. We know that it's got 3 components. It's antibacterial, it's an antioxidant, and of course, we want to just hear a little bit more. Can you just give us a little introduction of the FOL for those who are new on the call before we get into the studies that you're going to share with us?
Okay. So, first of all, lignans in nature, you find in very many of the raw materials we use for doing food. We have it on the nuts, we have it on the seeds, and we have it in wheat and barley and rye and so on. And earlier we consumed, had a different menu, eating porridge in the morning and have full grain stuff and so on. And we didn't eat too much at that time. We were not consuming too many calories, and we were working hard physically. Now, unfortunately, we now have changed our menu, so we don't eat those things that earlier gave us the lignans naturally. And our food industry has also changed. So they take away the lignans that would be important to have in the food. And okay, so the function of the lignans in your body is very important. From the studies we have today, we see that if we could increase the lignans in the food, we could reduce many of the modern diseases. We talked here about cancer, but other is, for instance, overweight and fat liver that you get due to over-consuming, eating too much. And you also get cholesterol problem, and you get blood pressure problem, and you get diabetes. And they are all modern diseases that are coming due to our menu today and lack of exercise. But from our studies, we know that we could counteract this. And one thing that happens is that we have created energy droplets, oil droplets in our liver, because we store energy very efficiently. And these oil droplets, the interface of them reacts with our immune system, and that creates a low-level inflammation. And that low-level inflammation is taking down our immune system level, but it is slowly progressing to cancer, for instance, cancer in liver, cancer in spleen, and so on. So this accumulation of too much fat is giving us the diabetes problems and insulin problems and so on. Okay, so this is the background of the lignans. They are very important for us, and we should complement our food with this. Now, the other thing we noticed is that if you use it in your mouth, then you put it under your tongue, then you are taking it up directly to the blood stream. And part of it goes to your stomach. So you have two routes, because when it goes to your stomach, you have enzymes there that convert it to enterolactone, enterodiol, and that is we see in the blood. It's taken up in the blood, and there it is anti-inflammatory components. Counteracting now the low-level inflammation caused by the menu we use. Okay, so the other is that when you use it under the tongue, now we also showed that some of the lignans can go through the brain blood barrier and affect the brain, so that we can reduce, for instance, problems with Alzheimer, because and also Parkinson's disease. So there is scientific publication showing that you can regain your balance and what you call motoric. And also we know with MSR that that is also a problem coming from inflammation. It is the coating of your nerve cords that are consumed, and they start to leak. And now if you take away this inflammation, this can heal. And then
Doc, talk about the gut, because everyone's got a gut problem. I know everyone I talk to, they have a gut problem and digestion problem. Talk about lignans and that.
Yeah, so the other, as Shanas told in the beginning, that it has also antimicrobial effects. And we will later talk about the antiviral effects. But that means that it can change the composition of the microbes that you have in your intestines. And it turns out that your gut microbe word is much more important for your health than we thought earlier. And there is a lot of work going on now in Canada, in Germany, in many places, looking into this gut microbial world. It is also so that we have these microbes on top of our skin naturally. And these microbes in the gut is communicating with your nerve system, because you have a lot of nerve cells going around your intestines.
What's it, what? Sorry, what's this? What no cell? Was that? What's that again?
You have a lot of nerve cells, nerve cells.
Nerve cells.
Nerve.
Nerve.
Yeah. And actually, your nerve cells that are coating the intestines communicate with your brain. So, depending on what kind of composition of microbes you have, you can feel healthy or ill. They can produce components that maybe are toxic to you.
Is that why when you get a cut, you put it on, it stings, but instead the pain stops, and for topical use, is that why? Because it communicates with the nerves?
Yes. So also your skin is coated with microbes, and it's natural, and they should be there. And so now they are talking more about finding the right composition for your skin to have a healthy skin. Okay, so now you have nerve cells, and as you know, if you cut yourself and if you put the fountain of life, you get the pain away within 10 seconds.
Mhm.
And
So Thomas, I want to talk a little bit about that. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I want to talk about that because, of course, we know from a topical standpoint, you've always taught us when it comes to any cuts, burns, bruises. You know, for example, kids that fall down and they do a scrape on their knees, or they have
Yeah.
any open wounds, you can actually topically apply the fountain of life on a cut and wound, and
Yeah.
basically the antimicrobial element, it will feel like your skin is burning at the beginning, but
Yeah.
it just calms down the nerve. Can you talk to me a little bit about the antimicrobial aspect of it?
Yeah. So since it's anti-inflammatory and taking care of the microbes there, it is important for the healing that you have the right components there. On top of that, it seems that it's speeding up your epithelial cell growth. That means the top cells on your skin. So the healing is faster.
Dr.
Fantastic.
Thomas, I know you had a lot to show me, and we're jazzed to have you, and we just want to drop so much at you. But I know you have an important message for what's going on with regards to viruses. So, and the mask and those things. Did you say you have something you want to show on the screen?
Yep.
Can you
So
know how to do that?
yep. So do you see this?
So Thomas, what I need you to do is
Yeah.
you have it on your computer.
No, it's a piece of paper. So you
Okay,
have to share his screen. I mean,
every-
sorry, camera.
Okay. Can I just ask you to turn on your camera, please, Thomas?
Yeah. Is it? Okay. Yeah, I think it's. Okay.
So I've already sent you a request. There you
Okay.
are. We see you. Hello, Thomas.
Yes, Thomas.
Okay.
Better
so,
when we see your face, doctor.
Okay, fine. So I just had a picture here from the newspaper we have in Swedish. Anyway, you see here a guy with a mask, and then you see here 2 micrometer spot, and that is your hair. And then next to it, I don't know if you, here you have the spot, and here you have the sizes of the coronavirus. I don't know if you see it, but they are.
So Thomas, I do.
Left and right is going. Okay. Anyway.
We could see, Thomas. We could see.
No, we
actually.
can see it, Thomas.
Use
It's
it. We could-
okay.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, the idea here is that you have a cell, and on the top on the cell there is receptors. And now, if the virus is designed so that it is docking to this receptor, then it will be able to come in. And when it comes in, it puts out its blueprint, and the blueprint can be then printed like a copy machine out. And that is what is happening with these viruses.
So
Now,
the virus finds a host in a cell,
yeah,
and when it gets in, it duplicates itself like a photocopier, like you said.
exactly. Yeah. Okay. So now, of course, we have now the bad luck that this CoV-2 virus, that is now the big problem. Before that, there was SARS-CoV-1 virus a few years ago, and that did not spread as fast as this has been, and we were able to contain it. So they have looked now on the differences on these, but the first thing I noted is that normal influenza viruses are like the one we are now hurt by. And there was then a very interesting study. I can show you here. It's called here. And it was a so-called in silico study. That means that they were using big computers to calculate the docking attachment to the receptors. And they could make maps of how they dock, but they could also computer simulate the lignan attached to this receptor. Okay, and the thing that they then did, that they scanned over 330 different potential molecules that could, instead of the virus, attach to the receptor, and that way make it impossible for it to attach. Okay, so here we have a list, and they have then measured the best one that the nature has, and it was here like estradiol, and the attachment energy there was minus 70. And now when we had our mataresinol that you have in our preparation, it attached even better, minus 74. And that means, and we have several other lignans here. And that means
Thomas, I don't want to move on forward because this is important stuff. Just so, because I know this is so scientific, I know it's easy for you. So basically what you're saying is that estrogen is helpful with viruses.
Yeah.
Because it attaches itself to the receptacles you were showing us. Can you show us the receptacles again? In that sheet? So cell has receptacles, and estrogen attaches itself and blocks it from the viruses to get in, correct?
Exactly. Yeah.
So the number you showed, 70, is some number has to do with how well it attached to the receptacle.
Attraction to it, you could say.
Okay. And so what you're saying is one of the lignans, one of the lignans in our FOL is actually stronger attraction.
Yeah, that's your normal compound that would go there and prohibit the docking. Estrogen, for instance.
So the higher the attraction or magnetic field, let's just say, the more it would attach to the cells.
Yeah,
so that's what stops the virus from getting into the receptacle.
Exactly. So then you could do it in different way also. You could make in the blood antigen that goes to the virus and changes its properties, and then
tell us about that.
Yeah, and then it cannot attach. But now this goes to your normal cell and does it there.
Okay, so doctor, this is amazing what you're saying. I just want to repeat this again. So folks, your cell has receptacles. It's like little things. Virus comes in. Once you get inside, it's like doors to the cell. It's
Yeah.
like doors. So the virus comes in, opens the door, goes in and duplicates itself. And that's where you get sick because one becomes thousands or whatever, right?
Yeah, exactly.
What the lignin does, or what estrogen does as well, it blocks the door, it locks it because it gets there first and it stops the virus from entering, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
And
this is
okay,
fascinating.
and you know, this this made me very happy because we knew from earlier studies that it is antiviral, but there was not the detailed information on the molecular level that I used to work with.
So what's the
but now there
definition
is,
of antiviral? What's the definition in scientific world?
what is the definition?
Antiviral, like what does one have to be to become antiviral?
Okay,
The definition.
in this case, is it so that the molecule has different hooks that will attach to the docking station, and the hooks are hydrophilic, water-loving parts, and then oil-loving parts, and when they match, then it's stuck. Okay, and so you don't need to have exact locking. You can have 90% or something like that, and it's still working some. Okay, and now the work they did was to look for these receptors that usually influenza viruses are attached to, and that are estrogen receptor alpha and beta, and then it's interesting also to know where they are located. So you find them, for instance, in lungs and gastrointestinal tract, kidneys, on bones, and you find it on heart and liver and breast and many different places. But sometimes it's alpha receptor, sometimes it's beta receptor, and so on. But there is many more receptors, of course, in the cell. But these are the main group for influenza viruses, and that's why I think it is even more important than the coronaviruses. If you look on the statistics, there's more people dying in normal flu than we have now over the year or the last 10 years or whatever. There's a lot of people dying because of these flus. If we could reduce that number by complementing with fountain of life, it would save a lot of lives. And from these calculations and these simulations, it seems that there is a real scientific basis for this. Okay. Now, of course, I was interested to see if we could do some more work on this, because we know that people have worked on HIV, for instance, and find that it could work. So now with the
Doctor, a lot of people don't know HIV is actually a virus, just like SARS, just like coronavirus.
Exactly. Yeah. So I would say now to summarize up, when you know that I can show you a very recent publication.
Fascinating stuff, Doc. Fascinating.
Yeah, I have.
You can look for that. I'm going to have a talk with our team here, and whenever you're ready. So, team, this is too much science. I get it, and Doc has been doing this all his life, and to him, it's But basically, what we're learning is that cells are cells. They have receptacles, different type of receptacles. But our receptacles, if you can block the virus, then it doesn't replicate. We don't get sick. That's pretty much what you're saying.
Okay, because now this SARS coronavirus is so important. Maybe I could give you a bit information on the latest on that. And that is, they had just put out 17th of March communication where they tell how long it can stay on solid surfaces, like on plastics. And they compare it to the earlier outbreak with the coronavirus 1 a few years ago. That was not so big problem. Okay, and they first tell that, and I have data here in graphics, and you see the blue ones, and these they tend to look very similar, and so they conclude that this virus is not behaving not very different from the earlier one, and that means that they tell then that, for instance, on a plastic surface, when they put their the material of these viruses up till 3 days, it can stay there and cause infection.
Wow.
3 days, 72 hours. And they measure something like if you put 1 billion of these viruses there, how long does it take that it is 500 million? So half time, and that is something like 6 hours, something like that. But still, after 72 hours, there is enough to make you sick.
Wow.
If you get it into your mouth or
Let's
nose
talk about
or
that,
what.
Doc. You were telling me about skin and which type of skin the virus can get, and talk about that.
Okay, yes. So now the problem is that you use your fingers that are contaminated, and you use it in your eye. You get it into your mouth, maybe into your nose, and then you have their mucous membrane, very thin membrane. And then there is a lot of receptors, and it's easier for the virus to get attached and get into the cells. But you also have inflammations. You could have sore gums, problem with your teeth, and then you could have direct route into your blood system. So now it's very important that you wash your hands, and actually these covers for your mouth and so on, nose, is not so much to filter material, but prohibit you to contaminate yourself.
So let me get this right. Your regular skin is too tough for the virus to get in. It sits on it, but it cannot get in.
Exactly.
But your nose, because the skin is thin, your mouth, because the skin is thin, it can get in once it get. That's how it gets in.
Yeah, and of course, if you have somebody that coughs, they have calculated then that it can go 2 meters or more. And it's like you see the dust in the air when you have sunlight from the side. It's the same here, the small particle floating around.
You're saying something about the nose, Doc, to me, that's where the viruses gather?
Yeah. So now when you breathe, usually breathe through the nose. So back in your nose, there is the cavity, nose cavity, and there you usually aggregate these viruses. So that's why I often take drops and put in my mouth, swirl it around, gurgle, and that way I coat these membranes and receptors with AOX.
Repeat that, Doc, because Repeat what you just said, because gargling FOL in your mouth is really
Yeah.
important.
Yeah. Okay. So the other issue is that they found that even if the virus now is similar than the earlier, the reason why it is spreading so quickly is that although it infects your lower part of your lungs very efficiently, you have a lot of the viruses in the upper part, and that then contaminates, your throat and your mouth. So when you speak already, you get moisture and these viruses out. Not to talk about coughing or sneezing. And okay, so that is probably the reason why it's spreading so quickly, because there's a lot of people that don't have so many different problems. They don't feel very sick, so they are working as normally and around, and they even maybe don't have fever. So we don't know.
As
And
they
they don't
talk,
know. Yeah.
it's coming out of the mouth as they're talking.
Yeah, exactly. And then they contaminate the cell phone. You should wipe it often, and especially when you give it to others. It's really so. Or you shake hands, or hug. You should try to avoid that.
So Doc, the two areas that the virus gets in the most is your nose and
Yeah.
your mouth, I guess.
Yeah.
How about your ear?
Yeah, so into the eyes, you have also very thin, and that is the third route in, and that's why they have this visor to cover the eyes. And I think they didn't understand that in the beginning, that it's not the mouth only; you should also cover your eyes.
Eyes. How about the ear?
Probably there is not so good ventilation if that channel doesn't go through your head.
Right. So Doc, we used to say, don't put FOL in your ear and in your eye. Is there any change on that position or nose?
Well, it's only so that I don't have information on that. We have not made any clinical studies on that yet, but we know that if you have inflammations, then this could cure it. Probably in old times, they made some kind of drops to be used in the ears, or you put it into what you call a piece of paper or something, and you put it in the ear, wet it with that, and put it in the ear. That may be they done.
I know I've used it in my ear before when I had infections, and I loved it because it really helped me before. I've never done the nose. I know other people said they've done the nose. I even know some people said they've done the eyes. They say it burns, but it's good.
Yeah. But okay, yes, but so that's why. Since I don't have information
can't comment
on the science, so that's why I can't do. But I know it takes away the pain.
So going back to the interesting part, so in science now, because so what you just said connects exactly to what I saw the other night. They had some CDC scientists on, and they're talking about this vaccine, right?
Yeah.
So interesting. People think the pharmaceutical company is looking for a new vaccine. They're not. They have gone to the old vaccines they had for Ebola, MARS, MERS, and they're working with those to see if it's going to work. And they said there were 3 vaccines they worked on. One of them was for Ebola originally. They said it failed with Ebola, but interesting thing they said it seems with Corona, it's active.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Yes. So well, I'm no specialist on that, but it means exactly this, that they found then a protein compound maybe that they will attach to the virus, so that it will not be able to dock to the cell receptor.
So same concept.
Yeah, I think that is what is. But I'm not a specialist on this, so I don't know. But I would then also tell that, I just heard, I was happy for that, because I tried to put here out in Finland for those that are collecting the blood, that those that have survived this coronavirus, they have produced then the antigen in the blood, and taking the blood plasma and giving that to those that are critically ill could cure them very quickly.
Very good.
And that would be the traditional way of saving life.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. And now the problem is that the authorities have not tracked, they stopped working with those that are found to have survived, and they are okay. They are dismissed from the hospital and goodbye and thank you. Instead of keeping track of them and now having them to give some plasma. To say,
Doctor, it was shocking to me that they have this top scientist from CDC, and they were saying what they're looking at right now for coronavirus, it's the same thing that came out in the 1800s. This is not, like you said, there's nothing new. So they're looking for antibodies. In other words, they're relying on your immune system to figure it out.
Yeah. Okay, but there's many good things here. I think I'm quite positive that we will survive, even if there's a lot of old people that maybe will not make it through. But many of them would also have problems with the normal influenza, as we know. But there's another thing that I noticed, and that was that from the death in China, it was a ratio 1.67 between men dying and women dying. So 67% more men were dying from this. Okay, they talk about that maybe men smoke more, and that is correlating with that. Maybe they have more high blood pressure, heart problems, diabetes problems, and they all add up to the risk. But it could also be from the normal virus influenza that men don't have this hormone that protects women. Yes, that I showed you here earlier, that we had a table here that I showed, and they compared to normal 17 beta estradiol, and that is a female hormone. Men have it, but not so much. Okay, so the thing that they found here in research literature was that women that were put on hormonal therapy because they don't produce enough, they had less influenza.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Because estrogen attaches itself to the cell.
Yeah, it protects. So it could be that using then similar things with corona could help with that also. And it is not only due to smoking, it is to a balance of hormonal molecules also.
So your test here clearly shows, because you have a whole bunch of them there, was it one of our lignin on the list or more than one?
There were several.
And that shows the stickiness, right? The gravity.
Yeah. So larissaresinol, for instance, we have, and mataresinol we have there, and then they have enterolactone, and enterolactone is produced in the gut, for instance, and then secoisolarissaresinol.
So we got 4 of those, or 5.
4 of them, yeah.
4.
Yeah. And then it could be that we have not studied so carefully there. They talk about isolarissi-resinol. I have to look if it could be also, but it is not with mataresinol. But our main component, hydroxymataresinol, is not on the list, and I don't know if they checked it because it maybe was not known.
Right.
Then and it could be it's very similar to mataresinol. So I think it should fit very well into this docking station.
So estrogen help women not to get as sick as men, correct?
Yeah.
And we have
with normal influenzas,
right,
viruses.
Right. But we got now 4 or 5 lignans on your list shows that they have similar activities as estrogen when it comes to normal flu.
Yeah, exactly. And so I think that reduces your risk to get the normal flu. And then the other issue is that it takes, when you consume it, it takes away the problems with the gum and the teeth. So you reduce the risk of going directly for the virus to go directly into your blood. And when you digest it and you get the benefit of it, you also increase your immune system when you don't have so much inflammation in your body.
So your immune system has 2 armies. One of them is a T cell. The other one is what's the other one? There's T cells.
You have you have white cells and others. You have several different systems there that can help you to cure yourself from different problems. But you know, so the main issue that we can do is to improve your health and improve your immune system and get rid of the low-level inflammations and maybe gum problems and teeth problems and so on. And I think they are a bigger problem, the health of your nose and your mouth than we thought.
Right. There's a direct correlation between your dental health and your regular health.
Exactly.
Now, I'm glad you brought this up, Doc. I want you to talk about this because people say, well, I'm healthy. My immune system is not compromised because I don't have pre-existing condition. I'm a pretty young guy. But your immune system could be compromised by, like you said, inflammation, infection, other things, right?
Yeah, sure.
Because so what happens, your immune system is trying to deal with all these issues. That's why when we say compromise, that means it's too busy trying to do too many things at one time.
Yeah, it is. It's occupied fighting many wars already.
Right. You know, Doc, you're amazing. You know what? We could produce all night. But you know what? Let's get a couple of questions in. David, you want to jump on board as well? A question that came up from one of our shareholders, Nora, she said, what's the difference between antibacterial and antimicrobial?
Bacteria are, and well, microbes. Maybe microbe is a bigger family. There could be other things in the microbe. There could be, you talk about gram-positive and gram-negative microbes. And if I now recall correctly, gram-negative have a double membrane and gram-positive a single membrane. It could be other vice versa. I don't remember for sure now. But the other is more protected, you could say, from outside.
Next question is, can this virus penetrate through scars and cuts? And
yes, sure. If you have bleeding gums or infections there, that already opens up a route in.
That's why they're saying dental health is directly linked to cardiovascular. David, I know you got comments on that.
Oh, no, you know, just to clarify what Dr. Alnes was saying, you know, antimicrobial, antibacterial. Antimicrobial is just a broader term. Antibacterial is just on bacteria itself and whether it's bactericidal.
Yeah, because you have also like what you call not gram-positive, negative bacteria, but you have then yeast and mold that
Yeah.
are microbes also.
And enveloped and non-enveloped viruses and all
Yeah,
that.
exactly. Yeah.
Protozoans that could be part of that whole big family. And so, when we say antimicrobial, it's a little broader spectrum that way than antibacterial.
David, there's someone the same old mistake they make between the triethylene glycol. Let's say it's poisonous and all that. You want to deal with that quickly?
Well, trimethylene glycol is not poisonous whatsoever. It is derived from corn. It's made by a multi-billion-dollar company and is classed as a food product. If they are Googling this, there's two things that could happen. They could come up with triethylene glycol, which is considered, it's used as a plasticizer, or they're pulling up a study from, I think, 1941 that was done by, I think, Dr. Winkler. But this is done on a petroleum-based product, and trimethylene glycol can be made from a petroleum-based product. We're talking about a food-grade food product that was deemed, generally safe, regarded as safe for use, is classed as a food. It is halal and is kosher certified, so it meets all the requirements for safety. So I don't know why this keeps popping up, but people should be rest assured that we have nothing in any of our products that would cause any harm.
But this is where we have to be careful. We said be careful what you Google, right? Because we do have our MPN number from Health Canada, by the way, folks. This is what we're using is not sometime what shows up on the Google search. It's where we use a food grade which comes from corn.
I think we have to understand that to have this autocorrect feature, like on our texting,
Yes.
which can lead us down the wrong path. So please understand that and take a look at what you have really Googled, and you'll find out.
Okay.
I do want to ask another question to Dr. Alness. Doctor, when I spoke to you earlier, when this pandemic broke, we talked about the fact that this is an antimicrobial agent. And of course, we talked about the entry comes in from the nose, the mouth, and around the eye area, the rubbing that's happening. So when you and I spoke, you recommended for people that are not only taking FOL to increase their dosage, but you said to me, take a couple of drops and put it around your lips and put a little bit of residue around the nose area.
Yeah, and you maybe remember I showed you also a spray. So
Yes.
when you spray it, maybe you also get it deeper in your throat
Yes.
and your nasal cavity.
Yes, and I know that we've had many customers that have given us a testimonial. And of course, when it comes to having a Q-tip, to putting a little bit of FOL and rubbing it around the nose area to get it more into the nostrils, we've had a lot of people giving us testimonials for that. And as well as in, of course, the eardrums. I know it's not tested, so David's like, so now I'm going to kill you, but I'm sharing testimonials of what customers are sharing.
Yeah. And
Well,
okay. By the way, I'm drinking tonic water,
Yes.
and do you know why?
Please
Hydroquinone.
What does tonic water contain?
Hydroquinone.
Exactly, and that is antiviral.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Everyone's gonna run to the store and buy this now, but yes.
yeah, and you don't need to have the gin there.
No.
No, we'll keep going with the gin and tonic. So, David, can you explain it in a non-scientific way so our customers understand, please?
I'm sorry.
Okay, and
Hydroquinone?
there is
Yeah.
scientific knowledge about quinine, and I think that was used by the English army and gin and tonic in India and so on, and that was to reduce the risk of getting diseases there, and one of the disease was, I think, a viral disease, and maybe David could look up more about quinine. But
I could share more tomorrow on that. But
Doc,
hydroquinone is something that is the same family as a lot of the antiviral drugs out there. It's just that obviously it's a lot milder, and certainly it's a lot safer than going out there and following some directions by a president who is offering up anti-malarial products that has already killed a couple of people. So let's be very careful. But yes, hydroquinone is absolutely safe to take for sure.
So, David, I know you and Dr. Thomas are very, very advanced in this process. But explain to me, what was the advantage of the tonic product? We have some people asking in the chat group. Can someone clarify, please?
Yeah, they
Yeah.
have it. Oh, go ahead, Dr. Allen.
Okay, and it contains quinine, and that is antiviral, and it has been used for centuries to try to fight diseases, and that I think was the reason why the English army soldiers always got gin and tonic.
Gin and tonic. All right. So it wasn't the gin, it was a tonic.
Yeah, exactly.
But
But,
again, it's a mild form and it's a safe form of taking something that will absolutely mitigate some of the risks. It's not going to cure it, but certainly is something people should start thinking. In this day and age, they should be drinking tonic water as part of their diet.
So somebody asked a question, kind of interesting question. Since the virus is getting through cuts and those things, how about your pores? And can it get through your pores?
Yes, the pores could be quite big. Actually, I once took the end of my finger and used the infrared camera, because when the pores put out vapor, then it's colder, and you see that in the infrared camera as black, and you could see clearly very spherical holes there.
Really?
So you could get it in from that way.
Again, that's what you keep saying, wash your hand, wash your hand, wash your hand.
Exactly, yeah. But it's all more that you don't use your hands to contaminate your mouth or eyes.
Well, you know what? This is amazing. Anything? Okay, folks. Dr. Alnaz, he comes to us twice a year. He's a scientist, busy, and we're working on some special products now for. Let's close the call, Doc, with viruses, because viruses have been around a long time.
Sure, and but they have been very difficult to study because they could be very nasty. So it's only special laboratories that get the permit to work with them, especially now with coronaviruses, Ebola, and all the others. So it limits the very much then the efforts you can do. But we have now in Finland a few companies that have made virus screening equipment, and I met them last week and thought that we could maybe use it for this coronavirus, but they said they didn't have yet ready the kit for the newest coronavirus, but they had a lot of the others that are.
You call this a Corona 2. There's a Corona 1. What's the difference?
The Corona 1 and 2. Corona 1 was the influenza wave we had about 2 years ago. And as I showed you, they studied here how long it will be stable at the plastic surface or on stainless steel or copper. On copper, it is shorter life, but it was both are similar. They couldn't see a difference from how they behave, but they could see the difference from how much you have it in your upper lung area and in the throat. So there's much more of this number 2, the one we deal with today.
Thomas, I have a question for you. When we spoke earlier, we talked a little bit about the virus, of course, entering through the nose, through the eyes, through the mouth, into basically the throat area. You said that's where you start to feel the aches, the burning sensation, that you kind of feel that you have like that little ball that's developing in your throat. You said it's a good idea for you to take some Fountain of Life, take more drops, basically gargle it in the throat to be able to build that a little bit of the residue. Can you talk to me a little bit about that for people to take precautions that are feeling a little bit ill?
Yeah, especially if you think you have been contaminated. then it's very easy for you to put the 5 drops in the mouth and swirl it around and gurgle a bit, because then you reduce the risk for getting the virus into the cells.
How long do we have to keep it in our mouth?
Well, I don't know. We have no scientific experience on that, but I mean, the normal way you are goggling, I don't think you need to do anything special.
Okay.
Just that you coat the areas.
Somebody's asking a question. Does F-oil treat bad cholesterol, LDL?
Yeah. And there we have clearly also evidence, and we have also patent pending on those. And so we can see that the good cholesterol is going up and the bad is going down, or
Very
anyway,
cool.
the ratio between them, and that is what they want to increase. The ratio between good and bad is
Awesome.
increasing.
Another question that comes up, I know we've already gone over. I'm going to ask you a couple of more quick questions so we can close the call. When it comes to the COVID-19, does it survive in cold or warm?
Yes, the study I just showed you here, they had done it in 20 to 27 degrees here, and clearly it could stay for 3 days there on the plastic or stainless steel surfaces, but maybe 1 day with copper surface. Then if it's colder, we know generally from the viruses that they survive better. If it's warmer, they don't survive as well. And I think that maybe if you take a good sauna, it would help.
Awesome. Thank you.
Oh, so hot. That's interesting. Isn't bacteria supposed to grow in heat?
Yes, but they are built to be in 36.5 degrees. That is optimum for them. You know, the body temperature. They live in the body.
If it's too hot, then they die.
That's when you get fever.
That's
Okay.
why the body gives you a fever.
Exactly, and that's
Okay.
why when you get this virus, you should not take medicine that puts down the fever. You should have try to get the fever up, because that will then reduce the possibility to survive for the virus.
Perfect. I'm going to just reiterate.
Okay.
And then
I have some more information
Please.
About this cold. You know, you say that if you get cold outside, then you get easier a flu. The reason is that when your nose is cold, then the blood flow with those components in blood that will the white blood cells that will attack the virus will not be able to flow as well as when it's warm.
Okay.
So it could be that the whole, I'm not now an expert on this, but this I know. Also, if you have a lot of blood sugar, it is big molecules, and that makes it less easy for the white cells to get in contact with the virus, to consume them. So anything that hinders your components to do their job will then make you more prone to get the flu.
Mm. That's what they were saying in the summer. Corona will slow down, will come back in the winter again.
Yeah, and I think maybe also the ultraviolet light will do, kill microbes and viruses, but not only the heat, because if it's so easy for them to jump to another person, then they don't need to stay out so long.
Doctor, I want to finish up with this because this is important.
I have a
couple questions before we end, okay?
Okay. Go ahead.
let me just do those. So a couple quick questions comes up, doctor. Number one, when it comes to gargling and in the back of your throat, if someone is feeling any signs of aches and pains from the COVID-19, how long should they gargle in the back of their throat? Number one. Second part is, should they put it under their tongue or on top of their tongue?
Okay, now if you want to reduce the virus attack, I think it's important that you use it in the whole mouth and the gums, so you have enough saliva and drops that you can coat the interfaces and reduce the inflammation you might have and so on. And then, so maybe it's enough half a minute or something like that to do, do the job.
Do the gargling, and then they can just swallow it, right? They don't need to.
Yeah, exactly. You swallow it because it's important that you get it into your stomach and
the gut.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I do want to also make a statement here at this point. Fountain of Life is not a cure or a drug. For those of you that are brand new on the call, this is a high-powered antioxidant based on the lignans. It is helping the body to boost its immune system to fight off disease, but it is not a cure. I do want to reiterate. I know we have a lot of new callers on. But I do want to ask the question. If someone has basically been affected by COVID-19, and we know this pandemic is growing globally, could it help in the recovery of COVID-19 for our users?
Yes. Well, from the general point of view, if they have other complications like a low-level inflammation and so on, then if we take care of that, they have gooder chance to better take care of the virus infections.
Fantastic. I just wanted to make sure that we do, of course, go through that because this is really, really important.
I would also point out that because this is a natural extract, I don't know how many natural extracts would be medicine, because they would probably not be approved by FDA or others for medicine, because it's very difficult to have exactly the same composition always from nature.
Fantastic. And another question that comes up is it advisable to rinse out the nose with warm water? I'm assuming they're not asking for FOL, but just with warm water when it comes to killing the bacteria, I guess?
Yes, as I told, if you have a cold nose, then the blood flow is not good enough to catch and kill the viruses.
All right, perfect. Now another question.
Since we have a lot of new people, we should get a couple of testimonials up as well for Doctor to hear, because we always get this great information because his product. I'm sure he wants to hear some testimonials coming from our. So if you want to put your hand up, if you want to,
I have some testimonials.
But I'll give you 1 minute, folks. 1 minute each.
Yes.
So you get it ready before we start. Get it ready. But before we get to that, Doc, I was having a staff meeting today. Our premier today decided that he's going to shut down every business. Pretty much, if you're non-essential, then everybody goes home. 5.5 million people, and they don't care what's going to happen to them economically. And I don't understand this 2-week, 3-week. What I don't get this, because as you and I were talking as well, they had 2 CDC top scientists on the talking, and they were saying this thing will go minimum 18 months. So tell me, do you think it's going to go in 2 weeks?
No, but I have a solution that I suggested today to the Finnish authorities, and that was that the big companies can always put out loan papers to the market, and now the state and the Federal Reserve and the central banks are buying those, so they get funding from that, and they usually have no risk of making then a bankruptcy. But the small businesses have, because we cannot put out these loan papers.
You can't make money.
So I suggested, let's do a system that resembles this. And that means that we have Corona cards, each for, say, $50 or $100. and the state and banks are buying them, and they are entitled to get FOL for $100 with that card. If they don't want to consume it themselves, they can sell it on the Corona stock exchange. And this way, then those that need it can buy it and maybe get it at a reduced price. Okay, this would then give financing to the small business, and they would pay it back by their products and their work later. And this way, we would save millions of jobs and small companies that have to shut down because the banks are not giving them loan, even if it's state-backed.
But Doc, the pharmaceutical companies would never allow for that. You know that. They want to shove vaccines down our throat.
Yeah, but it's really a big problem now for many restaurants. Yeah, and it's there for people in the tourism business, and for everyone. This is really something we have to do very quickly. So it would be very quick just to load a card with that entitles you to buy from my company or somebody else from you. You put up $100,000 of cards. It's your company numbers there, identity, and so on. And of course, you could use it then as exchange with other companies.
Well, you know what? That's a great complex plan, but I don't know about you, Finland. In Canada, the plan that our government put up was a joke. Basically, they came up with this big plan. It was $900 a month. It's not even half a rent in an apartment in Toronto, and that was the big plan for a couple of months. And they got this so-called business, business support. I laughed at it. I looked at it. We qualify. I laughed at it. Closed the page. Basic is $25,000 for the company, period. Doesn't matter. What's that going to do, $25,000? Anyway, but I want to ask you one more important question. Because people tend to watch TV looking for a solution from the government, thinking in a few weeks they're going to come up with a solution. But this is not going to go away, is it?
I think this will take now at least 4 weeks to reach the top. And then it takes maybe 8 weeks to go down to levels that are safe, so to say. But it could be so that areas in your country and our country will be quite clean. So then they can open up the business. So they will open up the business, going to restaurants and so on as quickly as possible. But they maybe shut down some areas that you are not allowed to come out from Toronto, for instance. But the areas like out would be open, and restaurants are working and companies outside.
No, but I mean, by the time we get it under control here, then Asia will take off, or Africa will take off, South America will take off.
Yeah, sure, and that's why they will keep these travel restrictions. So each part of the world will deal with the problem, and we are all learning from each other now. So I think probably they can get medication going on that will reduce the number of deaths. But the vaccine itself, as they tell, will take maybe 1 year to get out on the market.
I'm really concerned about Iran because obviously they're under sanction, and they're talking about now 3.5 million people could die, and May is the peak for them, and really concerned about that. And by the way, I want to donate some of FOL to the nurses and doctors in Iran. They're working so hard on the sanction; they can't even get medication from the world. Yeah. And so, yeah, it saddens me, but I try to do all I can.
Yeah, sure, and it's the same here, that we are very concerned about the old people, that and the personnel taking care of them. and so we have also sent material to them.
For sure. I do want to reiterate a couple of things, gentlemen. Thank you for that. Is when it comes to the Fountain of Life, ladies and gentlemen, and of course our founder and CEO. For those of you that don't know Ramin, because I see that there's some anonymous comments coming through my message box, and I do want to reiterate something. One thing that I've always done is I've always said that Ramin is a CEO with a heart of gold, because the reality of it is that most of the time you will not see CEOs giving back. This is a time that even Ramin spoke to me saying that I want to be able to help the frontline workers and as a good gesture of humanity. So the question that came up is, will Opulence Global take the lead to sponsor FOL to the frontline people as a good gesture for humanity point of view? Yes, it's something that we've definitely talked about. We're here to give back to the universe. The more, as Ramin, our CEO, always says, what you give is what you get. And we are always adamant about that. With that, I do want to reiterate a couple of testimonials. Thomas, we've already gone half an hour over. I do apologize for keeping you. Our call is so good. We don't want to let you off, but I do want to read some comments.
Why don't we let them talk, share the testimonial by voice? If a couple of guys put their hands up.
So I don't have that. I do have them some typed up into messenger boxes, Ramin.
Sure.
But someone right is Cheryl from Winnipeg. I just had knee surgery on February 12th, and I've been using FOL every day on and my healing has been amazing. What I found is when I put FOL around the cut, the nerve pain subsides, and I was able to reduce down my pain pills. So thank you for that. So thank you so much for sharing your personal story with us. We do appreciate that. And again, when it comes to testimonials, Thomas, as you know, we've shared when it comes to cuts, burns, bruises, a lot of different patients do have it. By the way, if someone does want to share their personal testimonial, you can always raise your hand like our CEO did mention. And as well, we do have our anonymous box that you could send us a testimonial and so that we are able to share as well. So this is my first time on a call. What I can say is what I've acquired from Fountain of Life is to share the hair growth testimonials. Because again, Thomas, that's one thing that we know, that hair growth is massive. I mean, I've experienced that myself when it comes to the hair follicles.
And also nails.
Yes. So we've had customers that are talking about their nail growth, hair growth, better skin as well. Can you talk to us a little bit about that? So I'm going to read the end of it. It says that the name Fountain of Life says it all. My hair, my nails, my skin, my teeth. I am so grateful I made the decision to get in. Thank you very much for this product. It is amazing. So
I can give you one more testimony indirectly. So I have a friend, he has a new girlfriend, and she had cancer that they were treating on the leg. And then they give radiation, and you get burnt by that. And so they put on half of the wound then FOL and not on the other half. And clearly next morning they could see the big difference, and also with the pain where it was painful. So it took the pain away, and it started the healing very well, quickly.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I do have some hands up, Ramin. I am going to get them to share. First one is Myrna Siret from, I believe, Alberta, if I got that right. Myrna, are you there with us?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear, my dear. Take it away.
Oh, thank you. Thank you all. This is such an awesome call. I truly appreciate excuse me, everything that you've done, all of you. I just wanted to share about my dad. He is, last year was 94. He had a severely drippy nose for about 2 months, to the point he would just give up and he'd just kind of roll a Kleenex and leave it in there. On top of that, he got the flu and then ended up in the hospital in isolation with oxygen for about 4 days. And when he came home, he had burn marks under his nose, and he was still dripping terribly. And by now, I'm asking him, please try this stuff. He knew I was taking it. He knew I was giving it to my mom, who has dementia, etc. And it took my brother to convince him. But we finally did. He put it on a Q-tip, and he rubbed it in his nose, both nostrils, morning and evening. and it took 6 days and it was gone completely. He was drip free. Yeah. So thank you.
Thank you so much for what a beautiful testimonial. Thank you for that story. Tammy, we're not even a whisper of any virus, but my neurologist is telling me that if I ever stop, he's going to have a very nasty word. He said he sees the results in the reduction of my liaison of the multiple sclerosis that I've been struggling with. Thank you so much for sharing that as well. All right, so let me see here. I just want to go to our.
I have one more.
Yes, please.
The other day here, a 92-year-old guy phoned me and said that he was thinking of me every day with warm feelings because 6 months ago, about I gave him 2 bottles of this, and he said that he had cancer in the lungs, and since he was so old, they had stopped the treatment. And he didn't think he has so much time left because he had difficulty to breathe. Now he came himself by car to our office to get the bottles, and told that he was to the doctor, and they wondered what he was doing because he was in much better shape now than before they started the treatment.
Incredible.
So and he told that the breathing goes very well now.
That's amazing. And he's 92, you said, right?
22, yeah.
Wow, that's amazing.
Here's one for asthma. I'm asthmatic. I haven't had an episode almost 2 years. No asthma, pump use, no sniffle in 2 years, no migraines. It's incredible. That's incredible.
All right. Ramin, how many more do you want me to keep on going? I'm gonna.
We got Doc here tonight, so it's 9:35. We go in another 5 minutes, and then we'll let the people go home. But what I want to do though is this, Doc, because I think people have to understand this social distancing thing. You have to take it a certain way. Yeah, okay, stay away from crowds, 6-foot rule, all that stuff. But the biggest social responsibility you can have, it makes your immune system strong. So you're not susceptible to, getting sick and passing it on. And people tend to get glued to TV and wait for a solution to come from the government. At the end of the day, all the government's done for 8 weeks now, they talk about the problem with no solution. No, quarantine yourself. That's the solution. In other words, let your immune system deal with it. And the importance of taking good products like the Fountain of Life. There's no other antioxidant in the world that does what it does. 7 lignans. That's the thing I try to impress about everybody. It's one thing to stay away, but how long are you going to do that? What about the next virus? What about the other 5,000 threats that's on your health every single day? Being glued to a TV, waiting. Okay, so even they came with the most best support package in the world, your immune system is under attack on a daily basis. And so my whole thing to them is double up and triple up on the Fountain of Life and get the word out there. So, what is your message with regards to the immune system and the importance of FOL now versus normal times? Should people double up now because of this, or what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I think if you use it when you think there is a danger that you are getting contaminated, somebody is coughing close to you or something else, then you use a few drops in addition to your normal usage.
Okay. I've always overdosed on this stuff. Okay? I mean, I love it. For me, especially these days, I have a bottle of FOL in every bathroom. I take it. I do this after hand wash. It's in my bag. I probably take 4 or 5 droppers a day, and I feel bulletproof.
Yes.
Yesterday I wasn't. It's Canada. It's cold. I was hot doing some stuff around the house. I walked outside with no shirt on outside in my balcony. I'm thinking, okay, normal times, I know I'm going to be sick. I'll be down for a week. I didn't have this much fear. That's gone because much like thousands of other people, I just don't catch a cold or flu anymore.
Yeah,
absolutely. I do want to read some testimonials as well that are coming through. And Thomas, everyone is really, really appreciating this. I have Nora says, my sister has a 7-year-old grandson with, he's epileptic and no more seizures after he's been on FOL. So thank you for an incredible product. Mavis writes, I have a 105-year-old customer who's taking a Fountain of Life and it has stopped her from drifting. Reza says, I've already tripled up my dose a long time ago. I get from Samsung users saying, Ramin is correct. Protect your health, your immunity with FOL. And I am going to get Cuthbert Nathaniel. I've unmuted you. I know you had to raise your hand to share your testimonial. I know you have a very powerful testimonial that's very dear to my heart, but let's let the great doctor hear it from your mouth about your powerful testimonial. Take it away, Cuthbert.
Hello, good night, everyone. Dr. Thomas, it's fantastic to be on a call with you. I'm really happy that you're on. Ramin, thank you. Sanaz, thank you. Davido, thank you very much. Doctor, I have chronic myeloid leukemia. I was diagnosed with chronic myeloid leukemia on the 14th of April, 2014, on my birthday, by the way. So my birthday is bittersweet since then. However, I have been in remission for about 5 years. Because I'm on oral chemo, on Glivec, you find that the chemo affects both the bad cells and the good cells. So what has happened is that my red blood cell count was always borderline or below, so almost bordering on being anemic. So when I started Fountain of Life in March of 2018, within 3 months of being on Fountain of Life, just 10 drops, my red blood cell count increased by 35%. Now, someone may ask, how do you know that? I do blood works every 6 weeks. So within the 3 months, I would have done 2 sets of blood works. And I actually took a bottle of Fountain of Life and the 2 blood works. I took it to my doctor's office and I asked him whether there is a positive correlation between the results and the Fountain of Life. And his response was, the medical profession is now looking at powerful antioxidants like Fountain of Life to be able to increase the immunity of individuals, to be able to allow the body to fight the cancer cells on its own. And it's their hope that within 10 to 12 years, chemo will become obsolete. So you can imagine how elated I was. And since then, I continue to be doing wonderful. My blood count is high. I am full of energy. I operate my own accounting business, so I stay up really late, which is not always good, but you know, you have to do the work, and it's wonderful. So I'm so happy that I'm able to say thank you to you for formulating the Fountain of Life with the assistance and collaboration of our wonderful CEO, Ramin Mezgalu. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Cuthbert. You know,
somebody's asking for COVID-19 testimonial. Maybe that person is from UK.
Ramin, if I could just take 1 second, because I know Cuthbert just shared something very personal to him, being a leukemia patient. And I do want to thank you, Cuthbert, for sharing with the rest of the world, not only your testimonial, but of course, your powerful, powerful testimonial. Every time I hear it, I get more and more excited. And Thomas, I'm sure that just brings so much joy to your heart as well.
Sure. And that is giving us more energy to work.
Yes, of course. Sorry, Ramin, I'm going to pass it to you. Did you want to read something?
No, someone's asking for COVID-19 testimonial. We had one the other day from UK. Maybe the person is on the call.
Yeah, we actually, well, they might not be on. They're from UK. This gentleman, I'm not sure how much I could share, but also suffered from a cancer in the intestines. So, of course, his immune system is a weaker immune system, and was diagnosed with COVID-19 after going through very, very extreme pain and a lot of stomach upset, of course, with a lot of chills and a very high fever. He was able to recuperate in his testimonial, which is found on our website, after 5 days. So, Thomas, if someone is diagnosed with COVID-19, how effective would that be when it comes to taking an antibacterial or taking the Fountain of Life?
Well, now we don't have any scientific studies on that, but I think because many of them complain about the pain in the chest from this inflammation. So I think the recovery could be easier and faster because it makes damage to the normal cells, and it's important that you recover then that. And I think quite many have problems to recover after that, and I think this anyway that could be maybe a positive thing happening, but we don't know yet how effective this is. I think it is important that you have high fever. Your normal immune response to this is to increase the fever. So as long as you don't take down the fever, it should be okay. And I don't think this Fountain of Life is taking down the fever.
So it's good that when you're hot at 39, 40 degrees.
Yeah, sure. That is your remedy.
Okay. So Thomas, I have an excellent question that comes up, and this is going to be a very good, so pay attention to this as well. Is Fountain of Life okay to be taken by someone who is healthy, or do you have to be sick to take a high-powered antioxidant? Great question.
Yeah, no, long term, you will need a complement to intake of antioxidants, and it seems that the long-term lack of lignans create the modern diseases that we have.
David, this is a good time for you to share with our team, especially new people, the difference between a natural antioxidant like the Fountain of Life and the synthetic ones that you get from drugstores that could be harmful.
Well, yeah, really quickly stating that, synthetic antioxidants are grouped in probably the vitamins that we're all, a lot of people do take on a regular basis. They're isolated vitamins, meaning that they're manufactured there and created synthetically in a lab. But that's not the problem. The problem is that there's two things wrong with it. Number one, it doesn't have any of the minerals or cofactors that are part of a natural product. And when that occurs, and when you take it, it's seeking that, and it could cause demineralization of the body. That's number one. Number two, that too much of quote unquote a good thing, especially these synthetics, are shown to be a pro-oxidant. In the 1990s, they were doing a study on beta carotene, and they found out that the participants were developing lung cancer, and they couldn't figure it out. And they stopped the study and did some history on these people, and they discovered that people who are smokers or ex-smokers or asbestos workers, in fact, were in a high risk group, as taking beta carotene became a pro-oxidant in their body. The other thing to recognize is that, these synthetic vitamins, they're slow to metabolize. They're really susceptible to heat and light and everything. There's a lot of factors there that could diminish its value and its potency. Whereas a natural product, number one, Fountain of Life is natural. Number two, that it is very resistant to heat and light. So you're not going to get full strength regardless of where you are in the world. And that's one thing. If you're ordering a synthetic product, by the time you get the product, it might not have any nutritional value to it as well. So one thing about Fountain of Life that's incredibly unique is its ability to withstand extreme temperatures, heat, especially in light. And when you take it, regardless of where you are, you're going to get full strength and full value for the product that you want to take.
Thank you for that. Dr. Alnos, I have a question for you. When you open a bottle of FOL and it sits there for a week or two, that becomes a bit cloudy. Tell us about that.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So I made just an attempt with making a spray. So I took Fountain of Life I put in the bottom of a small a glass, and then I added some water. So I dilute it, and then you see it becomes milky. And so you make like a small emulsion there. It looks really like diluted milk, and that could be a way then to administrate it, for instance, into the nose or something that you spray. And I made a spray of that.
So it's the same. I mean, at the end of the day, if it tastes the same, does the same thing. The shelf life on this thing is a long time, like 2-3 years, right?
Yes, but then when you make a spray, probably you need to put there some surfactant or something to stabilize the.
No, talk about not the spray. Talk about the regular fountain of life.
Yeah, that is very stable. That is very stable and well formulated from that point of view. And I can say, vitamin E. That you have C, D, and E. Vitamin E is made synthetic, but only a part of it has the natural molecule conformation. It contains then similar molecules, but they are twisted in another way, and they are more harmful to you. So the body is looking at the synthetic, soup of vitamin E molecules, more like an enemy, and then it's not stable. Shelf life is 2 months or 3 months only.
Now, people start talking about the shelf life. So when it's not open, about 3 years.
Yeah, and actually, when we have studied, we have samples that are 10 years or more old.
Antimicrobial, right? It self-regulates.
Yeah, so we could analyze them again and found the same composition.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
Wow, it's a super machine, a super everything, and.
It's definitely an incredible product.
Amazing. 2.5 years ago, we launched this. We're so excited as if we just discovered it yesterday. It gets more and more exciting because every day we hear something new. Look at there's hundreds of messages on the chat and so many testimonials, and we're still looking for that next big. We know something new will come out of this. So.
I do also want to share that, your testimonials makes a big difference for us. So we have our Fountain of Life page that's right on Facebook. We highly encourage each and every single one of you. If you do have a testimonial, please do go share it. Please do share your testimonials. Remember, knowledge is power. And when you give the gift of your story, it helps another person to share your story as well. If you don't want to share your name, you can say, I have a customer that has this testimonial. Because at the end of the day, I want to make sure that we are spreading the word. We are letting everyone know. I do want to let you know that my team has been working around the clock to fill your orders during the COVID-19 outbreak. I think our orders that we have pumped out in today was equivalent to what we pump out in 3 days. We pumped all of it out in 1 day today. They worked almost 13 hours here at the office today. I actually had to ask them to go home. I said, I need you to be re-energized for tomorrow. But, next time that you talk to a staff member in our product team, thank them for being relentless and working hard. Be proud of everything that we've done at Opulence. I really want to thank Thomas for developing, creating, and giving the power of this incredible product. I do want to take this time to really recognize and thank our founder and CEO, Remy Masgarlu, as well, for really being an entrepreneur and saying, let's help the world with bringing this product and investing and bringing it to Opulence Global. I do want to also thank David for being instrumental into the regulatory aspect to get it out into the world, helping our Facebook chat groups to give knowledge, to give feedback. Look, we've already gone 2 hours into this call, and we can go for another 5 hours into this call. Thomas, you know what? Everyone loves you so much. I'm going to ask you to be on. I know it's a crazy time for you. I know it's in the middle of the night for you,
What time is it, Thomas?
but
4 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, well, thank you so much for that.
and I'm very grateful that you woke up and you stayed up for us. And from Opulence team, I want everyone to send your love by putting a thank you into the message box so Thomas can see your thank yous, because we are so grateful for this product. We are so grateful for the opportunity, Ramin. We are so grateful for everything that this, as you can see, Thomas, the chat group has gone wild saying thank you. But we are grateful. We are thank you. And you know, this is a power of, oh my God, I've never seen our chat. It's like a e-commerce website going crazy. But we are so grateful for everything that this product is doing for my health, for your health, for everyone's health globally. And I want to thank everyone who's just been working relentlessly. My goodness, Thomas, I hope you can see our chat lines and what they're doing with the things that are going. But thank you for what you've done. Ramin, thank you, and God bless you. Gentlemen, David, God bless you. I know you've been working around the clock and doing everything that you do. Our team is truly amazing. And you know what? I am grateful for our team, our opportunity, our company. Let's go out there. Let's share the message. Let's share the opportunity. Ramin, I know you want to share a couple of words. So
well, I want to close the call, but I do have something important to tell everybody. So don't get off the phone after Thomas goes, because I need to share important information with you with regards to what's going on here with our hours. But Thomas, you know what? It's late for you. Why don't you say your closing comments, and we'll let you go. We appreciate you.
Yeah, maybe I then would just say that there is, as I told from the beginning, more to this than I can talk for the moment.
You told me that back then, and when the stuff you showed with it tonight, you knew it. But you said, I couldn't tell you everything back then because you said, Ramin, you were not ready for this. So 2.5 years later, I keep getting little bits and pieces. So those 24 patterns are there for a reason, isn't it?
Yeah, there is more in them than we think.
We appreciate it, Tom. Go get some sleep, my friend.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thomas, thank you so much again. I'm sure you see all of our chat groups. You're more than welcome to stay on as long as you like, but I know it's the middle of the night. We are so grateful. Send my regards to, of course, your beautiful wife, your children. I know you have a family of scientists that, by the way, every single one of Thomas's children, and even his
youngest daughter.
Sorry?
I just put in a patent with my youngest daughter.
Oh, she's amazing. And of course,
she's a scientist.
Everyone is a scientist in that family. So Ramin and I sat at a dinner table with them, and it was an interesting dinner talk. But let me tell you, it is an honor and pleasure having you as our guest tonight. Thank you once again for being on. We are so appreciative. And Ramin, I know you have some announcement that you'd like to share with our Opulence partners as well.
Why don't we let David do his closing comments, and then I'll finish up at the end.
All right.
Okay, I'll try and be brief. Dr. Allness, thank you for sharing everything and continue to keep us informed as to what is going on in the world. Really important. I think everyone should be taking Fountain of Life. Someone asked if they should be taken when they're healthy. This is a time to be taking it. Because we don't know exactly how compromised our immune systems are. And this is one product that will help boost our immune system. I think this is, through a crisis like this is an opportunity to change our habits, to really take an introspective look at how we conduct our own daily lives and what we're taking in. Fountain of Life should be part of that. It replaces the lignans that are no longer in our diet. And this is something that a doctor will not tell you, because the word lignin is not even part of our lexicon. And I doubt anyone on this call, including myself, knew that term before we were introduced to this, the Norwegian spruce extract that we now call Fountain of Life. And so this is your opportunity to share and help people and help yourself. So please be safe during this time.
Thank you so much. Thank you again, Thomas. Thank you again, David. Have a great evening. We thank you for being on the call.
I just sent you one of the publications, David, so you can have a look.
Okay, you should see the emails between these scientists to each other. It's funny. Okay, guys, pay up.
Thank you very much.
Good night, Thomas.
Thomas. Thank you again, David. All right, team, we do have some announcements that we need to hear from our CEO, so don't go anywhere yet. I know it's been a late call, but we still have some announcements for you.
2 minutes. 2 minutes. Well, maybe
Thanks,
more than two.
David. Go get
Okay. With this crazy Corona stuff going on, every day, as you know, your country is the same as our country. Things are changing. 2 days ago, social distancing, and today our premier said all businesses that are non-essential must close. And we have till midnight today, which is tomorrow, midnight tomorrow Toronto time, and then we're supposed to technically close. The problem is nobody knows what is essential. So we're a big business here. People know me. The government knows me. So I pick up the phone and I call 3 top MPs. There's a government parliament people. And you know what's interesting? Not all 3 of them, none of them could tell me, what does this mean, essential, non-essential businesses? So I made a case. So I called all these MPs in parliament and nobody could tell me. So I sent an email, they built a case and look, we're an essential company. And because we got the fountain of life, this is something that the world needs right now. We have our night cream, which is the ultimate antibacterial product that's out there. We're working on 2 products right now that's absolutely essential for what's going on right now. As we speak, we're working on that. That makes us essential business. So I haven't heard from anyone. I sent a very long email, but we don't know what's going on. What I suggest, good news is FedEx and said that they're continue coming here. By the way, Sanaz, I guess they said we're the only business that they keep coming and it gets busier and busier. Every other business is closed, right?
Yes. Sorry, I wasn't sure if you were. It's been a long day. Yes.
It's because our business is blowing up worldwide. So it's fantastic. The problem is we may get a shocker tomorrow saying that we maybe have to close for a few days or a week or 2. I'm not sure. We built a case saying that we are an essential business. We are in works. Because yesterday, the day before this announcement, the same premier went and said, if you're a local business and you can build these things, please help us out. This is our premier. And guess what? We're building those things. So we've made the case. We're waiting for a response. But just in case we don't get a response, and then by the time we get a response, we may have to close because we don't have a permit yet for a few days, few weeks, whatever. I don't know. You need to, when we say close, we don't mean the company. The company continues going on. If our staff have to work from home, they will. The software is working. Everything is the same. What that means is that we can take the orders, but we can't ship them until we can get back in the office. So my suggestion to everybody is tomorrow, place an order. Place an extra order, right? Just go ahead and place an order. And I'm very, very positive that we're going to be given a permit. But just look, I was a distributor like you, right? Just in case we get a shocker for a few days or a week or 2, I don't know. The business will go on. The website's on. As a matter of fact, we're going to attack the web and we're going to be doing daily tours. We got some fantastic speakers. I'll be on it. So that's Danny. We're all going to be doing. So the business is going to speed up even more than before. We got different languages, different time zones, all these leaders from different countries coming together to do tours and trainings. You're going to have so much tools and momentum. It's incredible. What we might not be able to do is process orders. So the business goes on, your checks are intact until we can get back in, I don't know, a few days, week 2, I don't know. But my tip to you is place an order tomorrow. We will know, as soon as we know, we'll let you know what the decision is. I have a feeling we might not get an answer. And the premier has basically said you've got tomorrow midnight is where all non-essential companies has to close. Nobody knows what that means. Apparently some type of list is going to come out tomorrow and we're going to know. But if I were you, go ahead and place your orders tomorrow. Place your orders tomorrow. And just in case, at least you know you have enough stock for a week or 2 or months. And by then we'll be fine. So place an order just to be safe. But the website, everything else, all the emails. If you have to work from home, we're working from home. Everybody's going to you makes no difference whether we're this location or another location. The WhatsApps, everything is going to be operational as a